Hi, I'm Joanie Courtney from EmployBridge, and I'm here today with Britt, the Chief Executive Officer at Penn Foster. Frank, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
We know today that even in the United States, there's 7.5 million open jobs, and there's only 5.9 million unemployed people. And those jobs aren't getting filled all the time, and for a number of reasons. But one of the reasons we hear about is the skills gap. You know, have we provided enough education and training to kind of meet the demands? So I'm curious your take on how we got ourselves kind of into this dilemma today where we don't have the talent trained with the right skills to meet not only the jobs of today, but the future of work.
Yeah, I think in our organization at Penn Foster, we're particularly preoccupied with a segment of the workforce, which is oftentimes referred to as the middle skilled. So there's 160 million adults who work, half of whom have an associate degree or less. We are very focused on helping those folks take better control of their economic destinies and really having better impact in their communities. The challenge that we've all encountered in the so-called skills gap, we firstly like to point out, has been a problem since really the beginning of the market-based economy. I'm sure if you went back and looked in the early 20s, whatever the inventions were, back in the day, there was always a gap of not enough people who could fix the steam engines and so forth. So in some sense, the problem is the same problem we've always had. What's notably different is the context. And the context is the future of work is changing very rapidly. The traditional solutions that the government has supported, like workforce boards, really aren't working. Employers are starting to recognize that they have to do and take a more activist approach to help this middle skilled workforce take better control of their economic futures. And so what we see is this sort of inflection point, which is always a little bit messy, where the traditional solutions are really not sufficient for the future, either from the consumer worker perspective or from the employer perspective, and arguably even from the government. So everyone agrees of the problem. I think where the real conversation is about to begin and is really accelerating is who's going to lead by example. Our view is that employers are going to be the new voice. It's not going to be government. We think individuals will take better control of their destinies too, but the largest, most progressive employers are going to have to step up to the leadership challenge and not be dependent on government as much as they once did. And the good news is leading companies, whether it be EmployBridge, Amazon, Walmart, Lowe's, and others, are all finding their way to making an impact on that middle skilled. And I think when history is written, that will be the force that really changed the conversation so that the skills gap of the future will look a very different way than it does today.
I agree, and I also see that the most wonderful thing is that the worker wants to learn. And they are wanting to, engage with online platforms and education and training. They want the skills to improve their, not only their experience and ability to get another job or make more money, but really to improve their life. And that's what this was all about for us at EmployBridge, was really creating that better work-life academy so that we could help our temporary associates with having access so that they could have a better life.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt if you study the labor markets, particularly the staffing sector, that EmployBridge has broken out at this point regarding really not just the rhetoric, but the actual action that says we fundamentally do care about your futures and that we are going to underwrite aspects of your ability to take control of your own destiny. I think you also make another good point, which is there are some who believe that the cohort of middle skilled workers don't have that desire, don't have that grit, don't have that commitment to self-improvement. And our experience every day is nothing could be farther from the truth. They have a variety of other complexities in their lives that they manage through as best they can, but ultimately they realize that skills are the currency of their ability to take better control of their future. And I think that's why the power of what you folks have done is so important, because you've led by example and signaled to the individuals that you have confidence in them. And I think in many cases, confidence, even more than competence, is the real gap. And what you've done is you've signaled to them that you have confidence and belief and conviction in them. And when you do that, it's amazing how people can take control of their futures.
Well, thank you. And thank you for spending time with us today. I'm sure your insights will be very helpful.
Thank you.